Kyle Snyder, a name that echoes through the world of wrestling and an athlete who has been celebrated for both his achievements and his character. For nearly a decade, Snyder has represented the pinnacle of American wrestling, a true symbol of hard work, dedication, and Olympic glory. He wasn't just another wrestler. He was one of the most admired athletes in the world. But on May 12, 2025, the unthinkable happened. Kyle Snyder was arrested, not for anything related to his sport, not for a doping scandal or any kind of on-the-mat misconduct, but for something that sent shockwaves through the public. He was arrested in a prostitution sting, part of an undercover operation run by law enforcement in Columbus, Ohio. To understand the magnitude of this arrest, you need to take a step back and understand who Kyle Snyder is and what he represents. Snyder's career has been nothing short of extraordinary. In 2016, he became the youngest American wrestler in history to win an Olympic gold medal. At just 20 years old, Snyder stood atop the podium at the Rio Olympics, becoming an international sensation. He followed up that victory with a silver medal in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics and cemented his place as one of the most dominant freestyle wrestlers in the world. With 3 NCAA titles and multiple world championships, Snyder was considered untouchable in his sport. He was the face of American wrestling. He was a role model to millions. But in a matter of hours, his spotless reputation built over years of hard work and sacrifice was overshadowed by the arrest. On that fateful day in May, Snyder was reportedly among 16 individuals arrested during an undercover sting operation focused on prostitution and human trafficking. The operation, which involved undercover officers posing as sex workers online, had been set up to target people attempting to solicit services through digital platforms. Snyder allegedly contacted one of these officers posing as a sex worker and arranged a meeting at a hotel. When he arrived, law enforcement was waiting for him. He was arrested on the spot and charged with engaging in prostitution. This might sound like something out of the headlines of a tabloid, but it is very much real. And for someone as celebrated as Kyle Snyder, it's more than just a scandal, it's a deeply personal tragedy that will affect him for the rest of his life. The immediate fallout has been swift. Fans, fellow athletes, and sports organizations have been left stunned by the arrest. Social media has erupted with reactions ranging from disbelief and anger to support and calls for accountability. And yet, the question remains, how did we get here? How did someone with such an impressive career make a decision that could completely unravel everything he's worked for? The answer isn't simple. For one, there's a complex relationship between public figures and their personal lives. While athletes like Snyder are admired for their talent, they also live under a microscope, with every decision scrutinized and every action amplified. This constant attention, combined with the intense pressure of being a role model, can create an environment where mistakes, sometimes big ones, happen. But there's also the bigger picture to consider. Snyder's arrest comes at a time when the world is increasingly focused on issues of human trafficking, sexual exploitation, and the exploitation of vulnerable individuals through online platforms. In many ways, this scandal isn't just about Snyder. It's about the larger systemic issues at play. While Snyder has not been accused of being involved in human trafficking, his arrest still serves as a reminder of the dangers of this underground world and the way it operates, even in places where we least expect it. The legal implications are clear. Although prostitution is typically classified as a misdemeanor in Ohio, it's a charge that comes with significant consequences. Snyder could face fines, probation, community service, and a permanent criminal record. But the damage goes beyond the courtroom. In the world of sports, image is everything. And for a public figure like Snyder, the ramifications of this arrest could be career-altering. Sponsorship deals, some of which were likely worth millions, are already being called into question. Major brands may pull their support. Wrestling federations, including USA Wrestling and the NCAA, may distance themselves from him, no matter how much he's achieved in the past. But there's also a personal element to this story. When you're someone like Kyle Snyder, who has spent his entire life building a reputation based on discipline, integrity, and focus, the public judgment can be crushing. Fans and fellow athletes alike are left wondering if this is a case of a one-time lapse in judgment or something deeper. Some might argue that this is an unfortunate mistake, a lapse in a personal life that's otherwise spotless. After all, who among us hasn't made a mistake? But when you're a public figure, those mistakes have a way of becoming public too. And in this case, Snyder's actions have sparked a much-needed conversation about accountability and responsibility. But what about the victims involved in such operations? The women who are often manipulated or coerced into engaging in prostitution? While Snyder has not been accused of engaging in human trafficking, the reality is that operations like these often target vulnerable individuals. This is the disturbing context within which this arrest takes place. A reminder that these issues are not just about one person, but about the broader, often hidden world of exploitation. And what about Snyder's future? Will he be able to bounce back from this? The court case is scheduled for May 19th, and while there has been no official statement from Snyder or his legal team, the pressure to rebuild his life and his career is enormous. In a world that demands perfection from its idols, it's easy to forget that athletes are, in fact, human. They have their flaws, their weaknesses, and their private lives. Snyder's arrest is a stark reminder that no one is immune from making poor decisions. But it also raises the question, should one mistake define the rest of someone's life and career? As the situation unfolds, Snyder will need to navigate the legal process, the public relations crisis, and the fallout from fans and colleagues alike. But perhaps the most important thing he can do now, whether or not his career survives, this is take responsibility for his actions and offer a transparent, honest reflection. In the coming days, the world will watch closely. Some may choose to forgive him. Others may never be able to look at him the same way again. But for those who once saw Snyder as a hero, a man who embodied everything good about sport, the journey to redemption will be long and the road ahead uncertain. But there is one thing we know for sure. In the world of sports, where victories and defeats are celebrated and scrutinized in equal measure, there are some battles that can't be fought on the mat. This is the story of Kyle Snyder, Olympic gold medalist, world champion, and a man now facing the consequences of a decision that could alter the course of his life forever. What happens next? Only time will tell. But for now, the world watches and waits for answers.